Hey everybody, I'm Kristen and I'm going to show you today how to apply sticky vinyl in solids or prints onto clear furniture cover, which is also vinyl. There's a lot of kinds of vinyl, so it can get kind of confusing. So I have made bows out of this, and these are water resistant. I don't call them waterproof just because I haven't left them underwater for weeks at a time. So I couldn't say they'll definitely hold up. I think probably they would, but I have submerged them and we've worn them to the splash pad in the pool, and they've been great. And also earrings. So this works well for both earrings and bows, and I have actually gotten quite a bit of detail out of them, if you can see that. This is a mandala that I did recently for earrings. And I love the way that it turned out. So they're great for matching bows and earrings and all kinds of things. So what you will need is, I just used plain white because I figured it would show up the best on my black table. But these prints are from Hobby Lobby in the Cricut aisle. And they are down at the end in square sheets. And they sometimes go half off. So they can be, I think they're originally $2.50 when they're half off, obviously $1.25. So that's a pretty decent price. And then the furniture cover vinyl is in the big home dec rolls over in the fabric department, and they have several different thicknesses. I have gotten the red kind, which is either 8 or 16 gauge. I'm pretty bad with gauges, and it doesn't say right on the thing, but I've gotten the red kind before, and then I think there's maybe one thinner. I would suggest for your situation getting the smallest cut of each and trying it out with just some, if you have some 651 or 631 at home already, which is sticky vinyl, and testing it on your machine with several different cuts before you get a lot of it, because I got a lot of the really thick stuff and it cut okay for me, and now I've been having some issues with it. So just the name of the game in the crafting world, I guess. Anyhow, so what I do is I actually start by turning my iron on and ironing this on a low setting just to get out any wrinkles. If it's going to shrink a little bit, that will shrink it. It doesn't really shrink much, and sometimes that even makes it just a tiny bit thinner, so it's a little more pliable, and maybe the machine likes that more, I'm not sure. So after I put parchment paper over it, run the iron over it just kind of gently and slowly until it's as flat as I want it. There's still a few wrinkles in here, but it's not going to be a big deal. The other thing you really want to make sure you do is clean your work surface. If you are anything like me, that's not a thing normally, and there's glitter and there's little pieces of this and that, and this has a little bit of a static effect to it as you're rubbing it with the scraper and that type of thing. So make sure you've got all the glitter and little tiny pieces really just off of your workspace. Otherwise you're going to get just the tiniest piece of glitter underneath there, and it's going to drive you bonkers because you can't rub that out. It's not a bubble, it's glitter, and it's going to cause a little bump. And we are detailed people, so we don't like stuff like that. So then, after you've got a clean workspace, you're going to need rubbing alcohol. I don't think it really matters the percentage, mine's 70%. And you're going to really clean your clear vinyl really well. If there's any little scuffs or anything, this will take off the oil, this will take off all that stuff. And I see some little pieces of glitter because I have glitter all over my house. I'm pretty sure my lungs are coated in glitter at this point in my life. So I clean both sides. I clean my workspace as well, just to make sure there's nothing underneath. And then clean this really well. All right, and then I'm gonna let that dry a little bit. Maybe I don't have to because I'm about to put water in it. The next thing you'll need is a spray bottle with water and just a few drops of dish soap. Don't know why you need the dish soap, but it says, everything I've read with the wet method says use dish soap. I think maybe it makes it just a little bit slippery. And you're gonna just spray clear vinyl really well. I use a lot of water and it's just easier for me. Then you're going to take your piece of vinyl. Now again, if this is your first time, I would say cut a little strip and apply it just to see how it feels. It's a little more awkward with a bigger piece. But I've done this several times and hopefully I've got the hang of this. I always use my nail to, I have the hardest time getting this stuff off here sometimes, but I use my nail, kind of drag it across. Okay, and again, static is a thing with this stuff. Vinyl and static seem to be best friends. So, I kind of take it and do it in halvesies like that. Make sure I've got enough space on both sides. I cut my vinyl just a little bit bigger than 12 by, my clear vinyl, just a little bit bigger than 12 by 12 so that I would have some wiggle room on this. And I'm glad I did because, and this is what the wet method, not the met method, the wet method allows you to do. If I had just stuck that on dry, it would not have been easy to pull it back up. So this allows you to kind of place and play with the placement a little bit. Pull it back up if you need to adjust. You can take your scraper and kind of put it down a little at a time. There's some wrinkles, big wrinkles here, so I'm going to do the same with this. Get this out of the way. And water is going to squirt out, might get a little wet. I usually have dry paper towels nearby as well. I don't have them right this moment, but then I can kind of clean things up as I go. The other thing I have started doing is to run an iron after I've got all my bubbles out, and actually you can flip it over to see the bubbles a little bit better. It makes this fun zipping sound. Once you've got as many bubbles out as you can get, you push pretty hard. You can also use an old credit card if you don't have a scraper. If you have a Sizzix and you don't need to get a scraper with your Cricut, just get all those bubbles out. So after I get all the bubbles out and it's kind of dried and I'm happy with how it's looking, I will take the iron over this again, put some parchment paper over the sticky vinyl, run over it again with that, and then gently scrape again. And then I cut the extra off. You don't have to, I guess, if you're just, if it's the right size already for your mat, but then it sticks better. I do leave on one part at least a little bit of edge so that I can take my fingernail and figure out if it's a solid color, and it's the same on the back. Sometimes it's hard to figure out which side the sticky vinyl is on and which side is the clear vinyl. When I put it on my mat, I put it sticky vinyl down, so it would be white down. I've forgotten to do that sometimes, and it doesn't cut as well. It makes little ridges sometimes on the color. So I like to leave a little so I can take my fingernail and feel where that edge is, just so I know which side to put it down. So cut it to size so that it fits on the mat. And there you go. You just wipe it off with a paper towel or a towel. Make sure all your bubbles are out. I have cut it pretty much right away before, after making sure it's nicely secured, and it's been fine. It's worked well. Just make sure you go over it several times in several different directions. If you still feel water squirting out, then you know you've got more bubbles coming out. So just keep going over it and then cut it, and can make your pretty new things. Thanks for watching, guys.